Hi students, welcome back. So before going to know clearly about the virtualization, let's see what is the difference between the cloud computing and the virtualization. So in the previous video, I explained what exactly the virtualization was and why we are using the virtualization. Okay, and now before going to that clear techniques, different techniques of using virtualization, let's see the difference between these. So some people may think what is actually both are the images. The cloud computing and the virtualization is just acting as an it's a ability to run multiple systems, means using the single physical systems they share the all the hardwares. So both the concepts will be the same, and here they are going to create a multiple images of hardwares and the softwares on using the same machine. Then what will be the difference between the cloud computing and the virtualization? Let's see. So we will see the difference by using different terms. With the help of the different terms, I'll explain the difference between cloud computing and virtualization. Now let's think about the scalability. So if you think about the scalability, what is the advantage of scalability in cloud computing and in virtualization? So the scalability, the cloud can be extended as much as you want. So if you want, you can extend the capacity size, the memory size. So pay as you go. So how much you are using, for that you need to pay. Okay, so if you're using less means you're paying less, like that. The scalability is there, so you can be extended as much as you want. So whereas in virtualization, the virtual machine configuration limits its scalability. So there is a limitation will be there in the scalability. Okay, so means suppose you are having on the limited memory. Okay, so you're going to save only up to that limit, means there is a limit will be there. You can't extend as much as you want. So in the virtual machine configuration, there should be a limit, its scalability. Now let's see the quick setup. So in terms of the quick setup, the cloud computing, setting up of cloud is very tedious task. Whereas in virtualization, it is very simple to set up virtual environment. If you want to create a virtual environment, you can create yourself by your own. Okay, it's an easy task of implementing the virtual environment, whereas when compared to the cloud. Now let's talk about the flexibility. So in cloud computing, the flexibility is very flexible. The cloud is very flexible for user access. User can access its cloud from any location with internet. So with the help of the internet, we can access our information, or whatever the information if you want to see, and whatever the files you want to store, and everything will be accessed anywhere, any location by using the internet only. Okay, so there is a very flexibility is provided by the cloud computing. Whereas in virtualization, if you talk about the flexibility, the proper authentication is required before accessing the virtual machines. So if you want to access your machine, there should be a proper authentication that should be required to access your virtual machines. So whatever the operating system you want to access, there should be a proper authentication. If you're having the username and the password, you can log into that operating system. Okay, and now let's see. If you talk about the service types, the cloud computing is having the service type of infrastructure as a software, whereas in virtual machine, they completely, I said the virtual machine is a software. It is a software which creates a separated multiple images. So it uses a software as a service. And coming to the dedicated hardware, in cloud computing, a multiple hardwares create cloud computing, whereas in virtualization, a dedicated hardware required for multiple virtual machine, only because one single system and multiple operating systems. Okay, so a dedicated hardware, one single system, if you talk about the hardware. So one single system shares the all the users will share the same single hardware resources. So there should be a dedicated hardware required for multiple virtual machines. Now talk about let's see about the integration. The cloud integration allows future expansion of users, applications, etc. So there is a chance of adding the features to your future purpose. So the cloud is going to provide a future expansion of users, applications, and some more. Now let's see about the virtual machine. The virtualization, the virtual integration allows expansion of new machines within the same infrastructure. So within the same infrastructure, you can add how many, whatever the virtual machines you want. The multiple virtual machines you can add. Now let's see about the dependency. The cloud computing, the multiple users can access the network using the same link. So there should be a dependency is there because the multiple users can access the network using only the same link. Whereas in virtualization, multiple operating system can be installed on a single server computer. Now let's see about the accessibility, how that accessibility will be there in cloud computing in the virtualization. If you talk about the cloud computing, it can be accessed from all over the world. Okay, if you are having the internet based cloud, you can access wherever you are. The accessibility is more. Whereas in virtualization, proper permissions are required for accessing from outside the network. If you want to access your system, means the virtual machines, you need some proper permissions which are required for accessing from outside the network. Now let's talk about the disaster recovery. Means the data disaster recovery is there in cloud computing or virtualization. So what the cloud will do and what virtualization will do if the disaster recovery is there. It's not dependent upon one machine. So obviously the cloud computing could not depend completely on a single server or a single hardware, a single infrastructure as a service. Okay, so it's not depends upon one machine, so there is no chance of disasters and it can easily recover. And whereas in virtualization, single machine failure can bring down multiple virtual machines. So a single resources, all the virtual machines are using the same resources. Suppose if that single machine failure is done, then there should be a chance of disaster, means there can be done multiple virtual machines. Let's talk about the types. The cloud computing types are private and public clouds, and whereas virtualization, different types of virtualizations are hardware virtualization and application virtualization. So these are the difference between the cloud computing and the virtualization. I hope you understand. Thank you.